Let's talk about some domestic issues. The Bank of England just raised interest rates again this week and said that the UK may already be in a recession. Are they right? Is the UK in a recession?
Well, that's a matter. That's a matter for the Bank of England and for the GDP figures, our official figures. I think what is certainly true is that the world is facing an economic shock. First of all, the aftermath of COVID, and secondly, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which has pushed up energy prices. And what I'm determined to do as Prime Minister is make sure that we are doing all we can to grow our economy, all we can to attract business and investment into the UK, so that we have a clear pathway to becoming a higher growth economy, more jobs, higher wages. That's what I am focused on.
And in that vein, your government just unveiled a new tax proposal this week that would reverse plans to raise the corporate tax rate. You've also proposed lifting the cap on bonuses for bank executives. In the U.S., President Biden is taking a very different approach, and obviously he has a different view on economic measures such as the one you're proposing. He tweeted this week, quote, "I am sick and tired of trickle-down economics. It has never worked. We're building an economy from the bottom up and middle out." And so President Biden is, in essence, saying that he thinks your approach doesn't work. The opposition in Parliament says you're recklessly running up the deficit and turning your back on so-called compassionate conservatism.
Well, I don't really accept the premise of the question at all. The UK has one of the lowest levels of debt in the G7, but we have one of the highest levels of taxes. Currently, we have a 70-year high in our tax rates. And what I'm determined to do as Prime Minister, and what the Chancellor is determined to do, is make sure we are incentivising businesses to invest, and we're also helping ordinary people with their taxes. And that's why I don't feel it's right to have higher national insurance and higher corporation tax, because that will make it harder for us to attract the investment we need in the UK. It will be harder to generate those new jobs. And I want the US economy to be successful as well. I want the European economy to be successful as well. I want freedom-loving democracies to succeed. And one of the things that we're doing here in the UK is moving forward on our infrastructure programmes, road building, broadband, mobile telephones. And I know that is what the administration in the US is doing as well. But of course, we all need to decide what the tax rates are in our own country. But my view is we absolutely need to be incentivising growth at what is a very, very difficult time for the global economy. And we've also put in place a package of measures to support consumers with energy prices, to make sure that nobody is having to pay more than £2,500 on their bills, which is very important as well.
All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the artists of Great Millstone, who our land is true from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. Sluggy, and today, that's pretty much want to go into this article, and it says the pound's crash will make inflation worse and push interest rates higher. Just going to read a little bit of it. And it says the UK's government's decision to implement the biggest tax cuts in 50 years while borrowing tens of billions of dollars to subsidize soaring energy costs this winter is a massive gamble that sent shockwaves through financial markets since Friday, when Finance Minister Kwesi Kwarteng formally announced the plans. The British pound has plunged 5% against the US dollar, bringing its total losses so far this year to an eye-popping 21%. The euro, for comparison, is down about 15% against the dollar during the same period. The turmoil doesn't end there. Investors have raced to dump UK government bonds as they worry about the extra 72 billion euros or pounds in borrowing due before April. The yield on 5-year debt, which moves opposite prices, has jumped from about 3.6% to more than 4.4% over the past 2 trading sessions, an astronomical jump in a corner of the financial universe that typically logs movements in tiny fractions of a percent. And that's pretty much what's going on. The British pound is pretty much, collapsing, And this is what we're gonna do pretty much. $1 is pretty much, 93 cents or 93 pounds sterling, of, the British pound. So pretty much, their money is pretty much worthless, or Slovakia do it like this. Slovakia. Well, pretty much, the British pound is, collapsing, so they're pretty much going to phase out, paper money out in the UK. So, that's pretty much going to lead to, the MOTB. So I'm just going to bring out a couple of scriptures. Lord willing, this is edifying. This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 6, and it says, "Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, saying, Woe to him that increases that which is not his. How long? To him that ladeneth self with thick clay." And that thick clay meaning, debt, because, America and, most of these other countries, they're in heavy debt, primarily, because of inflation just America alone, due to inflation, because of all the money that's being printed, by the Federal Reserve. And, again, when the pandemic happened, it pretty much slowed everything down, and made the cost of everything go up. Slakia, bear with me. All right, here it is. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, and verse 12. For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense, but the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. So yes, pretty much in the time that we're coming in, you know, that we're coming into, you know, wisdom and knowledge is going to be, you know, the stability of our times, you know. Money pretty much isn't going to deliver us, you know. I'm going to bring that out. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 33 and 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure, you know. So pretty much, again, that's the time that we're coming into because, you know, as the world economy is pretty much collapsing, you know, paper money is pretty much going to be phased out with a digital currency. You know, that digital currency being, you know, the RFID, CHIP, you know, which is what Revelation 13 and 16 is talking about, you know. And this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 7 and verse 19. And it says, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them. In the day of the wrath of the Lord, they shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity. You know, because that's pretty much what, you know, most people do. You know, they pretty much lean on their money, you know, to deliver them out of certain, you know, situations. And just like it said, you know, money is a defense. That's pretty much what it is. You know, it's a tool, you know, that can help you out in certain situations. But ultimately, you know, once these things start to happen, you know, it's like in a time of Jacob's trouble, when it's fully, you know, implemented, it won't be able to save you. You know, you can't buy your way out of certain situations that are going to take place. You know, the only thing that's pretty much going to get you through these terrible times that's getting ready to befall the earth is the wisdom and knowledge and understanding of the scriptures, you know. And this is pretty much what, the collapse of paper money is leading up to. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 36 and verse 6, and it says, Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. And yes, that's pretty much what most of the world is going to do. They're going to trust in Esau, Edom. They're going to trust in his system, and they're going to, take his mark, which again is the RFID, CHIP, And it's pretty much what I'm going to end it with. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13. And I'm going to start at verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak. Slakia. That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hands or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Going into 666, which pretty much is what Esau Edom does. He can't get away from that number. But again, this is pretty much what, the collapse of the British pound and soon, the American dollars, that's what it's going to lead to, the CHIP, people getting, that device implanted into their hands to be able to buy and sell, to continue to live their lives in this society, But the elect of the nation of Israel, they're going to refuse it. And some will be, put to death, some will be beheaded for the testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shai, but, they're going to be risen up, once he returns. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from. And I like to say peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Till the next time I say shalom.